a lot of people will ask me if, like what was the career progression to getting in the FBI? Did I always want to be in law enforcement? So it's real interesting. I will always share with them, like, I grew up with two law enforcement people in my house. So my dad was a deputy sheriff.
Okay.
So he had worked at the Cache County Sheriff's Office his whole career. And then my mom was an adult probation officer
Wow.
for the state of Utah. And so I'm like, I got to see the full cycle of justice growing up. I was not interested in law enforcement at all. Like, I'd kind of sworn off at an early age joining law enforcement. I was like, I've seen it. I've seen all the elements of it.
Yeah.
It doesn't interest me. But it was, and having two law enforcement people and, as parents, it does shape a lot of your perspective. So we had a lot of really interesting experiences growing up. There's that program out there called, I think it's called Scared Straight, where they'll like take these at-risk kids and they'll like expose them to like what prison life is like. So I had an experience like that.
Did you really?
Growing up with my mom. So she would have to interview inmates who were up for parole and basically assess, like, does the state of Utah think that this person is ready to be reintegrated into society? And so there was one weekend in particular, she had to go on a Saturday to go interview this person that was at the prison down in Salt Lake. And we didn't.
Oh, down like Bluffdale, like down at that one.
Yep. And we didn't have anybody to provide daycare that day. So she had to bring me and my younger brother with her. So we're riding down. It's about a 2-hour drive from Cache Valley down there. And the whole time, me and my brother in the backseat just doing what siblings do, just arguing and fighting. Yeah. And my mom just has had enough of it after 2 hours. And so she pulls up to the prison. We walk in. She goes and she knocks on the window of the bailiff, and she points to this cell, the door that was open, and she says, "Is that available?" And he's like, "Yeah." And she's like, "You two in there now. I want you to think about what you've done." And so we walk in, she closes the door, and like you hear it like lock and everything. And I'm in this whitewashed room with a bed built into the wall, and there's a toilet in the corner, and you've just got light streaming in from this one little window up in the wall. And I'm just looking around and I'm like,
wow,
this place is terrifying. I never want to come back here ever again. Right. So there were all these, so it worked. There was all these little formative experiences like that. But yeah, so that was always interesting.
How long did she keep you in there?
It probably took a good hour and a half.
She went and did her interview.
She went and did her interview, collected her notes, and came back.
Did you get to use the bathroom there in the cell?
There was no urge whatsoever
from your brother
to use the restroom at all. So that was always interesting growing up. But as I progressed in my career, I was working for Cricket Communications at the time. It was 2011 timeframe, and we were kind of in the tail end of the recession. And as many organizations did, Cricket started to take a look at their financials, and they were like, "Hey, we got to start cutting back to meet our numbers and our projections." And so they started looking at markets that weren't producing enough revenue. And I just happened to be leading one of the newer markets. And so we'd only had about a year and a half, 2 years to start growing our customer base. So we hadn't hit those revenue thresholds yet.
Yeah.
And so we got the notification like, "Hey, we're going to be turning your market over to indirect dealers." And so now suddenly I've got like 2 months to find another job. And so I start looking all over to see what's out there. And it just so happened that the FBI had posted out special agent openings. So I ended up putting in for the special agent position. And the way that the special agent process works is it's a 2-phase process. So phase 1, you're going to take a number of assessments, right? They're going to assess kind of your psychological personality. They're going to do some writing assessments, just get a general understanding of who you are as a person. And then you're going to go through and you're going to do like a visit to the field office, and you're going to learn what a day in the life of a special agent looks like. And then they're going to have like panel interviews, and they're going to assess any specialized skills that you might be bringing. And so, went through the entire phase 1, was into phase 2, went through the interviews, and I was about 3 weeks out from doing the polygraph and the physical fitness test. And they won't do it at the home office. They'll send you to another field office to complete that. So they were going to be flying me from Salt Lake down to Phoenix, Arizona to complete it at the Phoenix field office. And right as I was at that kind of 3-week area, notification went out that the government was going into sequestration.
Oh, right.
So all hiring was being frozen. And so I got the notification. They're like, "Hey, sorry, we don't know how long this is going to last. We'll reach out to you, once things clear up." I still needed a job, so we started looking and eventually found a position down in San Antonio, Texas, that we ended up taking. But so that was kind of where I was like, okay, I'd sworn off law enforcement, but I mean, I need a job. Maybe I'll go do this thing. And then after living in San Antonio for about 5 years, just out of the blue, summer of 2014, I get a phone call. Hey, this is FBI DC. We have a professional staff opening that we're looking to fill. We came across your resume. Would you be interested? Type thing.
Huh.
And so that's kind of the arc that brought me into the FBI. Which